Guess what? Buttholes, the crappiest of the two brands won. That's right, Raw, with a clean, stanky sweep across this Survivor Series, which I know is one of your least favorite of the four big shows of the year.
Yep.
4 out of the 10,000 shows we get. Yeah, this was a thing. I will say this: it was a lot more entertaining than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
But, oh man, well let's just get down to the nitty gritty. Spoiler. Enzo Amore was at the show.
Yep.
If you didn't catch that, stay tuned. Anyway, there was a pre-show that was 2 hours long. Why do we need a 2-hour long pre-show? We don't.
Nope.
That's the answer. I don't know if there was a fucking match in the first hour. I hope not, because who the hell
Thankfully,
cares
we missed
about that?
the first hour.
Yeah, but we did unfortunately see the second hour, which had the tag team, the 10-man tag team match between New Day, the Colognes, Sanity, and the Good Brothers. That's right, the fucking Colognes were in this bitch.
Woo.
Versus the Revival, aka those guys they've ruined effectively.
Yep.
The Lucha House Party, that's a thing.
Okay, those guys I didn't even know existed.
Ascension, yet another thing they've ruined. B Team, those were guys. And Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, yet another 2 guys they've ruined. So it's a bunch of people they've ruined versus another group of people they've sort of ruined. So yeah, I understand. Oh, I forgot to mention the Usos were also in the SmackDown team.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was zero response to this match.
Yeah, there was.
Nobody gave a flying fuck about it, really. But I will say that at one point, the switch hit. It took a while to get there, though.
It was pretty much once they threw all the crappy teams out.
Yeah, so let's get to the eliminations real quick. The Colognes were eliminated first, which is very appropriate. Fuck those guys.
Yep.
And we're Hispanic. We should be cheering for these fucks. Fuck that. Get them out of that show. It sucks, man. It's a waste of money. Anyway, Bo Dallas, thus the B team, got eliminated next. So, again, I know the B team has a little subsection of fans, but, I mean, they're nothing. They're nothing on the radar anymore. They suck. Let's be honest here. They suck. Anyway, I wish they didn't, but they do. Next was Sanity. Again, these guys were the bee's knees in NXT. Now they're nothing. So they got eliminated next.
Nathan.
Speaking of nothing, the Ascension got eliminated after them, and who cares? And the Good Brothers. Again, I know they were good at one point, but fuck, they stink on the main roster.
Yeah, nerds.
Gone. And then the Lucha House Party was gone next, with a bunch of people approving highly of that for some reason.
That was weird.
I will say Lince Dorado got dropped on his head. That was funny. But anyway, at that point, once he gets dropped on his head and all those losers are gone.
Yeah.
And I don't want to call some of those people losers, but man, come on.
Colognes, though.
The Colognes are. Yeah, once the real losers, the Colognes are gone. Then the match actually kind of heated up, man. And there was a lot of good spots in there. Gable doing some pretty astonishing spots. The New Day always delivers. There was some pretty good action.
Yeah.
Once all those people were gone.
Like I said, once they threw out all the turds, it got pretty interesting.
And then what it boiled down to was Roode and Gable got eliminated after that, and it was kind of a shame because this is the best I've seen them work together. Their little fucking team on Raw is not great, and it's really a shame for both of them because they deserve better. But this was the best I saw them work together, and it actually looked good. I will say Gable is the best of the two. That's just facts right now at the moment. Anyway, the New Day surprisingly got eliminated after them, and it came down to the Usos versus the Revival. Yet another surprise.
Yeah.
Now, this could have been their chance to do something for the Revival, which, let's be honest, again, awesome on NXT, completely squandered on the main roster, and made to look like fools constantly.
Yeah.
This could have been it, and it was decent little face-off between the two, but ultimately the Revival did lose. Super kick to the face, a little splash after that, and that was that. A very uneventful loss, no less. And that was kind of a bummer, because the Usos don't need another win. You know what I'm saying? And especially in light of the fact that this doesn't count to the tally of wins. They just give it to the fucking Revival, Raw. Fucking make it a real true clean sweep. Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, what'd you think of this little shit nugget?
It was a shit nugget for the first bit, and then it got interesting. I was actually surprised the Revival was the last one there. Even though they lost, it was at least cool to see them do something, even though they were a little botchy at times. In fact, the whole match was kind of sloppy, but once it picked up, it was fun, so we didn't really mind. But yeah, it doesn't matter, so it's kind of pointless anyway.
Yeah, it was a thing that happened. In the end, that's no matter how much heat it picked up, it was like, well, there we go, back to square one. Whatever. It was fine. Not great. Next, we get a little update on the whole Team SmackDown for the women. Turns out that Alexa's like, fuck it, let's put Sasha and Bayley in this bitch. So, all that animosity was pointless, really. Whatever. I guess it's good to know before we get into the mix. Anyway, the actual show proper started at this point with the women's 5-on-5. So I guess it's a good thing they told us right before that who was going to be the last two women on Team Raw. Team SmackDown was composed of Carmella, Naomi, Asuka, Yo Girl, Mandy, and Sonya Deville. Mandy Rose, that is. Or Vazlands, as we call her.
Yep.
And this was a versus the old Bayley and Sasha team up. Nia Fats, which, by the way, Nia Jax got tons of boos.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive, actually.
And that's good, though. They're using the circumstances to build up heat for her. That ends up having kind of a negative effect for the match, for me personally. But at the same time, it's a good thing. But anyway, and then, of course, Tamina, a.k.a. who gives a shit that she's in anything, and my girl, Mickey. Anyway, first elimination was
that
what's
guy.
What's her name? Naomi.
Yeah,
she gets super kicked by Tamina. Nobody likes that.
No.
But Carmella takes out Tamina immediately, and everybody loves that. There's a little dance break even that I didn't even mind because I was like, yes, Tamina's out of this bitch.
Yeah.
So that was pretty fucking cool. Anyway, eventually this led to Mandy eliminating Mickey after Sonya does all the work, basically. And this is kind of building up their little side story that's going on in SmackDown. So that was kind of cool that they integrated elements of the plots going on in their actual show into this. So that's pretty neat. Not important, but neat. Anyway, Bayley eventually does a Bayley to belly to Carmella, and she's out of the picture next. Mandy Rose ends up tapping to Sasha's bank statement next, so she's gone. And there's a Sonya and Bayley count out because, they get to scrapping outside the ring, so they get eliminated simultaneously to mass disapproval, mainly for Bayley. But this did lead to something interesting because as we boiled down to the final three, we had Sasha versus Asuka with Nia Jax trying to hide her elephantine frame somewhere off in the and the cameraman did nothing to hide the fact.
Just kind of hanging out there.
Yeah, so it was obvious that Nia was going to come in and be the winner at this point. To me, anyway. I don't know about you.
Tamina?
Yeah, but yeah, man. So, but before we get to the Nia thing, Sasha and Asuka actually had a pretty good back and forth, man. I don't know if you enjoyed that, but I quite enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It was pretty cool, and the crowd was really into it. What ends up happening is Nia ends up feeding, appropriately enough, Sasha to Asuka by pushing her off the top rope just as she's about to do a move on old Asuka. So Asuka gets her in the Asuka lock, and Sasha taps out. She's out. So this leaves Jax with Asuka, and again, it's good for Nia to ride this heat wave. You know what I'm saying? It's good, but at the same time, they could have done something for Asuka, who, let's face it, needs it and deserves it at this point. Nia's got the heat already with the Becky thing.
Yeah,
she doesn't need more heat.
Didn't need any more.
And in Asuka, we all know they've done her wrong, especially in light of the last big loss she had was to fucking Ellsworth, basically. Yeah. Come on, man. Throw her a stinking bone over here. But they didn't. Jax says I'm doing like 10 billion leg drops with her massive ass. And a Samoan drop, and that was that. Chalk one up for the Raw team. Nia Jax wins. She's the last woman standing of the bunch. Asuka waddles away in agony, and the smell of Nia's fucking tight-ass suit. That was a stinky end, but it wasn't a horrible end.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I think it was okay.
Yeah.
The best part was the Sasha thing. Little 5 head was shown, so that was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of a buzzkill when Nia came in, and then it just kind of, you're like, okay, I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Then it happened. That being said, Nia definitely gained some weight.
Nia,
her bodysuit looked particularly tight this time.
Nia,
That baby was sprayed on.
Nia doesn't fit into her bodysuit anymore. They just spray that sucker on. I will say this:
see every crevice of her anus. It's not good.
This was a theme, dude. Not the anal crevice thing, but the fact that they would probably not give the right wins to the right people the whole night.
Yeah.
And, with the Revival, it was their time to at least get a little bone thrown that way. Asuka, they've ran all over her. Throw her a fucking bone. Nia doesn't need the heat. She's got it.
She's already got enough food.
Next, though, was a match that I had zero interest in.
Yeah, same here.
Really no stakes. And that doesn't have to do with the talent involved. We all know Seth Rollins is exceptionally talented, and Nakamura, of course. But Naka has been thrown under the bus with Asuka because I guess they don't like Orientals or some shit. So, yeah, Nakamura is a nobody on SmackDown. Who gives a shit about that championship?
Yeah, he has that belt, but he hasn't been on TV. And when he is on TV, it
sucks.
It stinks. He did found Naka's Kaka, which is our favorite eatery. No one else knows about that, so...
Yeah, Nakamura is a virtual non-entity on SmackDown, so who gives a shit at this point? And then we all know that his moveset has been stripped down to almost nothing. His character is virtually non-existent as well.
He's also wearing this weird-ass blue suit that looked terrible.
And the blue suit wasn't good. And, of course, Rollins is always interesting to watch, but there was nothing that interested me in this match. Does that mean the match sucked? No, it was all right. Yeah. It was all right. It culminated with Rollins taking the win for Raw again. It was curb stomp to Nakamura. It kind of looked like Nakamura was going to win, but nope, they just took that away. So I guess we're back to what we were at. So that's a house show fucking results.
It was kind of a stinker. It did kind of pick up a little towards the end. But yeah, there was nothing there for us to be like, this is cool.
No investment on our part. I'm sure somebody gave a shit, but it certainly wasn't us.
At this point, it was the first time we mentioned Viscera in the night. Because we're trying just to
keep ourselves alive and interested.
Yeah, unlike Viscera, by the way. Never interesting and certainly not alive anymore.
Oh, man. He's dead as hell.
Yeah. Anyway, them worms had a buffet.
Mabel, it might be dead, but the next match ensured that our interest would die a little more, and that's the Bar, accompanied by Big Show, versus the Authors of Pain. Now, of course, we love the Bar, but, they have nothing good. The tag team scene in both SmackDown and Raw, more so on Raw, though, is pretty dead. They don't spend any time with these storylines, so whatever. But the Bar's still the Bar. They can still entertain. AOP has been stripped of any of their menace. In fact, they won the damn titles in the worst way possible by ganging up on one guy. So that's a thing. Whatever. They used to be great in NXT. They left on a high note, and now they're just guys that are big. And maybe because they are big, they'll eventually get the attention they deserve. But at this moment, they're pretty garbage. Anyway, they were accompanied by Drake Maverick. Oh, he'll come up later.
Yeah.
The long and short of this is that AOP ends up attaining the win. They double team on Sheamus, and that's about all you need to know about the match, because the match itself wasn't very interesting at all. In fact, it kind of sucked.
I'm going to be honest with you, I don't even remember this match until the end.
Yes, because the end is the only thing worth mentioning, and I don't mean that in a good way. I mean that in a what the fuck are we watching way.
What is this, a cartoon?
Look, we all realize that wrestling can be silly and stupid at times and still be entertaining. This was just stupid and certainly not entertaining.
Childish.
Yes, utterly juvenile. It was stupid. And it boils down to this. Drake Maverick attempted to interfere for his boys, the AOP. He, gets to run around, whatever. Ends up in the fucking humongous palms of the Big Show, who starts choking him. At this point, it becomes obvious something is either stupidly wrong with Maverick or he has to do something.
Yeah.
Because it looked like he was fiddling with his penis.
Yeah, I actually went, why is he holding his ding-a-ling?
Yeah. But then it became obvious what the fuck it was. No, he doesn't have a hard-on for Big Show's grip. In fact, he was triggering a device to make it look like he had peed himself in fear.
Shit!
At this point, we wanted to kill each other just to spare each other the fucking thought of further watching any of this shit.
It was kind of interesting because I went through phases. It was just like disappointment. I wasn't even mad. I was just like, they did that.
Yeah.
And then literally the next second, I was sharpening my axe to drive it into your head and then mine.
Dude, it's got to be one of the worst moments in recent history.
Here's the worst thing. If you're going to do the P-spot, fine. Invest on like a little pump that's going to shoot that baby out. This baby was just like one little trickle of water. You could barely see it. And then when they were going back in shame, he was trying to make it bigger by rubbing it. So it just looked like he was rubbing his little ding-a-ling. I don't know, you didn't see that part, but I was like, God, this is the worst executed dumbass spot of all time.
They could have just gotten Percy to do it.
Yeah. So not only did the spot sucked, but the execution of the shitty spot sucked massive ding-a-ling. Yeah. Once again, NXT proves that they are superior to the main roster by having Percy just shit himself for real.
Oh man, this is one of the worst things I've seen.
It was bad, dude.
In anything wrestling related, and I'm okay with fucking what's his name, old Dick Spot Joey. What's his fucking name?
Dick Spot.
Yeah, the fucking Dick Spot. Anyway, I'm okay with all that shit. This fucking garbage. What the fuck is this, man? What the? Why did he? Anyway, what it happened? That's what ended up defeating Sheamus. That he went up there to laugh and gawk at the P-spot. It was horrible, man. That was the worst thing ever. Anyway, another win for Raw, but it was super irrelevant and lame.
A lose for all of us.
Now, yes, very much a lose. In between these matches, we had locker room vignettes with the SmackDown locker room and the Raw locker room, and R-Truth doing his confused, insane man bit, which I gotta say is really working.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's also quite tragic.
I gotta say, Miz was like hopped up on coke or something.
Yeah.
He was particularly energetic this go-round. And very funny. I like how he's pimping out his movie.
Yeah.
Unabashedly, unashamedly.
I do kind of wish they had turned it up a little more, though.
Yeah.
But that's just my preference.
Yeah.
But it was pretty hilarious. I don't know what the hell was up with Miz in that locker room.
I don't know, but it was awesome.
It was pretty great.
So those little vignettes were pretty cool. During the Bar Big Show match, I think this is when the incident happened. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's when it happened because there was a big distraction in the crowd. And we thought the crowd was being assholes.
Ball or something like that.
Yeah, because people tend to do that to Cesaro because they know he'd get pissed off. Rightfully so, mind you. I thought that's what was going on, but what actually may have happened at this point, we know it happened for sure, but I think this is when it happened. Enzo Amore was in the crowd, and you know where he was? If you've seen wrestling for a while, you've noticed this guy with long hair and shades.
With an old lady.
Yeah, with an old sugar mama. We call him death metal guy and Stoop Crone here.
Yep.
Anyway.
Or DMG and Stoop.
And Stoop, yeah. And right behind DMG was Enzo Amore. Just hiding out in the crowd for some reason.
With a I'm doing great shirt.
Yeah. So he got kicked out swiftly. And that's what that distraction was, apparently. Anyway, next was another distraction. Mustafa Ali versus Buddy Murphy. If you watch 205 Live, this was a good match that fed into that storyline. We don't watch 205 Live because it's already a fucking disaster to keep up with the main roster.
Yeah.
We don't want to add to that fucking burden. But the match was pretty damn good. These guys are good wrestlers, period. The crowd was into it. It makes me want to give up on Raw and just watch 205 Live, but at the same time not, because Drake Maverick's there, and God forbid he should piss himself again.
God damn it.
But anyway, was the match good? Yes. Was I interested in it? No. But considering I wasn't interested in it, like the Naka versus... I'm just calling him Naka instead of Nakamura now. But instead, like the Nakamura-Rollins match, I was actually kind of invested in what was going on here on a purely athletic level. So it was a cool match. It ended up with a need to face before his finisher for Buddy Murphy. Mustafa Ali loses. Buddy Murphy retains. That's long and short of it. I will say we did start talking about Viscera's fucking fat ass during this a lot, though.
Yeah, we did. It started off like, because we have no no stakes in it, so we were kind of uninvested in the first bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the viscera came up. Would you rather lick his underbelly? Or I don't even remember what the other one was. Oh yeah, lick Yokozuna's dirty diaper.
So the question for today is: would you rather, if you had to? This is a fucked up situation.
Yeah.
You just gotta to save your mom from dying. Would you rather lick Viscera's under-tit, fucking sweaty fat,
Yeah,
or Yokozuna's used-ass Yoko diaper, and he didn't wear the red pants? It was just straight on the fucking longa.
we're talking like
That's the question of the hour.
we're talking like near his death, so that baby is all
It's stinky.
sweaty.
Anyway, either way, you're losing, but which would you rather? That's the question. But next was a good announcement for me, and that's, it wasn't even part of the fucking event. They just announced that Lars Sullivan is coming soon.
Yep.
And see, I have hope for Lars on the main roster, because Lars is a big-ass dude.
Yeah.
Scary big.
He looks like Trapjaw.
He looks like Trapjaw from fucking Masters of the Universe, so he has a chance on the main roster. So I'm hoping that they don't ruin Lars like they've ruined just about everybody fucking else. Anyway, next.
So that was one of the most exciting parts of the night.
Yeah, something that wasn't even
Lars.
part of the event. Next was the men's 5-on-5. Ah, man. This was a thing, right? Anyway, it was enjoyable, though. But for SmackDown, we had... I'm sorry, for SmackDown. For Raw, we had Balor, Braun, Dolph, Drew, and Bobby Lashley.
You mean Bobby?
Yeah, old Bobby Lashley, who's, I guess an ass man now. Versus, for SmackDown, The Miz, Shane, Rey Mysterio, Samoa Joe, and Jeff Hardy, that is. A bunch of good cats, interesting cats at the very least.
Yeah.
A lot of big talent on the Raw team, and that's kind of like the narrative. Big versus underdogs, And right from the get-go, you get that feeling that that's what they're pushing, because Samoa Joe, the only real threat, physically speaking, that they had on the SmackDown roster, gets taken out pretty fucking fast by a Claymore from Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore.
That would be fucking awesome.
Hold on.
Barrymore out of nowhere.
So far you've called Drew McIntyre, Magneto, and Drew Barrymore.
I'm going for it, man. Drew Barrymore. Hey, man, fucking Arquette already. The whole cast of Scream might as well just come up with this bitch.
Yeah.
Courtney Cox is the next heavyweight champion. Anyway. Yeah, man, Samoa Joe gets Claymore by Drew Barrymore, apparently. By Drew McIntyre. There was a tension between Drew and Braun before this, and before it all started, really. So that was an idea that kept on cropping up. Tension between the Raw team. Which made me think maybe that they would actually lose this one. But spoilers, they don't. But anyway, there was a massive table spot, as you'd expect from Shane. So that was the way they took Braun out of the picture for the bulk of this, which is good because he's being pushed as this unstoppable beast that destroys everything.
Yeah, until he gets stopped.
This was good, though, because it allowed Finn Balor for a change to shine. It's been a while since Finn Balor has interested me, and it's not his fault. It's the fact that they've booked him like shit, and they still are booking him like shit. But here it was just Finn Balor, the wrestler, doing what Finn Balor does best, and he looked fantastic. I don't know if you agree with that, but I thought he looked great during that bit.
I did say that when they were doing the entrances, I've gotten to a point where when I hear his theme, I'm just like, ugh. But it was this showing without the character work was actually pretty damn cool.
Yeah. I mean, they need to reboot Finn Balor because fucking stinks at this moment, his character. But yeah, he's still obviously a very capable wrestler, and here he's shown, and it was great. That is, until old Mysterio took him out, and that's the adequate person to take him out, I think. They had their own little back and forth. That was pretty cool. Ended with a 619 and a splash from Mysterio, and Balor was out of the picture. Dolph Ziggler was next to be taken out by Shane coast to coast. At this point, by the way, Shane had come back from his table spot, and he was looking pretty fucking beat up. And so he does a coast to coast. He attempts to do it one more time. Braun catches him, chops him out of fucking existence, and he's like he's
dead.
He's a shell of a man at this point, old Shane. Jeff Hardy gets power slammed by Braun at this point, taken out. Ray gets power slammed by Braun.
I do want to point out that Jeff Hardy was in pain just standing there, by the way.
Yeah, Jeff is probably going to start using drugs again at some point. Yeah, Jeff Hardy gets taken out next. Power slam by Braun. Power slam by Braun for Ray. Taken out. Power slam by Braun for Miz. Taken out, leaving the best in the world, Shane, versus three monsters.
Yeah.
The literal monster, Braun, and then, of course, Bobby Lashley and Drew Barrymore, apparently.
Yeah, she's the biggest monster of all.
I mean, she didn't age well. But anyway, body-wise, she still got a cute face.
I'll totally hit that.
Yeah, especially zombie mode. But anyway, the point is, it's Shane versus these three guys, and we feared that they were going to push the best in the world narrative to ridiculous levels. But thankfully, that did not happen. What ended up happening, of course, is Braun power slam Shane, and that's it. He's done, But this was all basically done to push whatever they're brewing up with Shane over there.
Yeah.
And the Corbin Braun, little fucking thing that's a good storyline, I guess. Pseudo storyline that's going on Raw. Corbin strikes Braun at this point in the back. Braun's pissed. Whatever. We're going to see that match eventually. Another one for Raw. Kind of a shitty ending, but it was a fun match for the most part.
I'm not going to lie. I kind of would have been okay with the Shane thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it would have been so stupid that I would have been like, you know what? I'm biting.
Now, to be fair, we don't hate Shane. I didn't even hate that he won the best in the world. It wasn't like a ridiculous, I won the best in the world. It was, he replaced someone. Yeah, it was silly. He's Shane, whatever.
And it's a freaking Saudi Arabia show. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. Fucking Saudi Arabia matters not at all, except for when they nuke us.
Yeah.
Then they matter.
They'll probably matter then. Even then,
it'd be like, whatever, we're dead.
Yeah.
Whatever. Saudi Arabia sucks. Hashtag Saudi Arabia licks my culo clean.
Yeah.
But that's another story for another day.
It really is.
Next is the match that should have been Ronda versus Becky. And this match, I gotta say, is proof positive that you can't go home a hero. Now, Ronda, of course, is not a native of LA, but when it comes to big wrestling events like this, your home is your state. And the reception to her here was not warm.
Yeah, it was weird.
And that partially has to do with two things. One, people are dicks.
Mm-hmm.
Two, you can only get, it's like a John Cena effect, Eventually, people start pushing back.
Yeah. Roman Reigns
but
effect.
I think, mostly it has to do with the fact that they wanted Becky.
Yeah.
So they were going to root for anybody that was Becky related, in this case, Charlotte. And we all know that there was not much of a basis here for this to happen other than Becky's injured and she chose a replacement. And whatever you might think about her choosing Charlotte, I think it was the right choice, by the way. Asuka would have been the popular choice, but not the right choice. It was a begrudging, like, you're the person to take on Ronda. I don't think they should have hugged at the ass end of that, but it was a begrudging, you're the one to take her down for now type of thing, which I thought was good. And she is the person. This is the match we wanted at first when Ronda first came in. So, did it deliver? What do you think?
Yeah. I think this is probably the best match of the night, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think not only did I think it was a good match, but I think the story it kind of sowed is going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I can kind of see it going several different ways, which is always a good thing. I can't wait till they ruin it, of course.
Mm.
But for now, I thought it was pretty damn great.
Yeah.
Also,
this match, we don't know how much time they had to plan this, but what they've done is the right thing. And that is they've not allowed Ronda to come out on top over someone as seasoned as Charlotte, which is what should have happened. But at the same time, it wasn't just Charlotte is good, better than you at this sport. It was Charlotte's like kind of existential crisis that she's going through after she got beat down by Becky. They sewed that into there, and that's good. It wasn't just, I'm good, I'm better because I've been doing this for years before you did. No. It was, I'm going through this, and this has broken me, and now I'm doing this to you. So it actually fed in pretty well with what's going on, and considering how brief a time they had to plan it, it's really kind of admirable.
Not only that, but I find it kind of interesting that they did do the hug at the end, and Becky wasn't as y'all suck as she was, before that. Of course, it was because of the injury announcement, but it could lead somewhere with a double turn, because it's kind of like now she's kind of evil, and freaking Becky's gonna be like, what? So that's what I find interesting. They could take it different ways. And of course, the match was pretty. Freaking Ronda looked really good in this. Weirdly, there was a lot of kind of like exchanges back and forth.
Yeah, what was interesting was that, by the way, he was referring to back to the events on SmackDown there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the exchanges between Charlotte and Ronda, maybe to some people that are not too familiar with MMA, I guess, maybe they might have looked sloppy on Ronda's behalf. But it was like kind of a good mix of Charlotte's technical side with Ronda's grappling skills, So there was a lot of, and they fostered up the storyline of Charlotte being frustrated with not being able to put Ronda down. But Charlotte was very dominant during this match. It was just that Ronda would not stay down. And that eventually led to her breaking on top of the aforementioned existential crisis feeding into that. And what ended up happening was there was no win because Charlotte ends up getting DQ'd because she brings out the kendo stick and just lays waste to Ronda. Ronda was already pretty much beaten to a pulp at this point. All she had going for her was that she was hurting Charlotte constantly with a lot of arm bars, and she wasn't giving up. But Charlotte was driven over the edge. Kendo stick to the max. Ronda was marked up pretty bad. We know these aren't legit 100% kendo sticks,
Yeah, but them babies.
But they still hurt, and they marked her up pretty good, so it looked fantastic. It looked fantastic. She was already bleeding to begin with from somewhere early in the match, but that was just a legitimate beatdown, down to chair spots. It was a great fucking ending to a pretty grueling match between the two.
Yeah, and we had that spot where she slams Ronda's head on the thing, and it looked pretty real.
Yeah. It really didn't if you look at it, but yeah, look again, everything looked
in
dramatically good. Yeah,
in wrestling context, it does.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of interesting to see that. I was just it was interesting because I was kind of just expecting a Ronda thing again. She's gonna win, and then Becky's gonna be mad at Charlotte because she lost,
right?
And continue that. So that's why I thought it was so interesting that they did this and could go different ways.
Yeah, it could go a variety of ways for both of them.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to see how they react to the crowd's reaction, because there was almost zero sympathy for Ronda afterwards.
And
which is really shocking.
You see Ronda go up all the way up to the ramp, and then she turns and she kind of has a kind of like hateful look towards the crowd, hurt and hate at the same time, which that might be laying the seeds to something. We do know they've been showing her with the other horsewomen a lot in NXT house shows, so you never know. It's interesting. It was a good setup for anything that might come up or might not come up. You never know.
Yeah. So we'll see where that goes. As it stands, the match was great. A great show for both of them. And yeah, like you said, laid a lot of seeds. Let's just hope they sow them right.
Yeah.
Not ruin it like they usually do. Last match of the night was Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar. I think everybody wanted Daniel Bryan to win. Did you expect Brock Lesnar to win? Or did you expect Daniel Bryan to win?
I kind of just expected Brock to win. I expected it to be a squash. I know you were on the other side, like they're not gonna make him. They're not gonna go through all this with Daniel Bryan just to have him lose so fast. But I was like, it's WWE. So yeah, I don't know, man. I thought it was just gonna be a squash real quick. Typical Brock.
What ended up happening was what it seemed to be a setup for a squash, but it wasn't a squash match in the traditional sense. Yes, Brock did end up winning, but it was after he kind of played with Daniel Bryan for a while. The squash factor was there. We were seeing him suplex the hell out of him, give him an F5, pinned him, but then pulled him out of the count to play with him further. So it looked like that was a setup, but hubris was going to be his downfall. It looked like the next setup. Like, oh shit, you pulled him out. Daniel Bryan's going to come back. And that's what it was for a while. He was chopping old Brock down.
Little feet.
People were really behind that. The match was a stinker at the beginning because it was like geez, it's just fucking Brock doing Brock. Same old shit, the chant was, and that's what it was. But once Daniel Bryan started fighting back and then working his way in, people were behind it, and that got interesting. It seemed like Daniel Bryan was going to get a win there. It seemed like it was damn close a couple of times, especially towards the ass end there where, he gets a yes lock in, and then Brock reverses it, but then he gets it in again, and, so that looked good. But nope, just old Brock F5s him one last time, and that's it.
Yeah.
Old Brock won. So that's a fucking thing that happened.
Yeah.
Now, in retrospect, having Brock win makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there's no way Brock has won these many matches and this shrimp is going to come in and beat him. There is no story build up for the underdog thing other than Daniel Bryan is just an underdog because of his size.
Yeah.
So him winning at this point makes no sense, really. Emotionally, it just pisses us off that this happened again. But let's just see it. We got to start seeing it this way because WWE, we don't know when they're going to pull the gun on making Brock lose. We just got to start seeing it as whenever someone does finally beat Brock, it's going to be super satisfying and that person's going to be like an immediate star. Unless it's already a star a la Roman Reigns, in which case we would just will be like, whatever. That's a fucking thing that happened. But if, whoever it is, when it finally happens, it's going to be, it's going to be a change of fucking scenery for that particular star or person. As it is, it was not Daniel Bryan, so this was a kind of a stinker of an end for the fucking event.
Yeah, I'll say this. I'll try to say some positives. It was an interesting way to make Daniel Bryan more of a believable threat against AJ.
Yeah.
In that he was able to knock down the beast, for a while. So that's cool. I get what they were going for, that I lost, but I still got that kind of like, I beat you down face. The problem with that is, we saw this last night with Velveteen Dream against, what's-his-face, and it was good. And this one was not, and it was boring.
Yeah.
And when it did start picking up, it wasn't enough to save the already kind of stanky match. So, yeah, this was a ending. An ending is the best thing I can say.
Yeah. So, let's give a final rating on this turd fest. Out of 10, what do you give this old thing here?
I think there was one really great match. Charlotte and Ronda. There was some fun ones in there. It wasn't boring, surprisingly. I was expecting to fall asleep, but I didn't. But it also wasn't really good. Kind of makes SmackDown look like shit, which really we know Raw is a piece of shit. So I'm gonna give it a pretty low, surprisingly low, despite not having hated it. 5.
Yeah, mediocrity was the name of the game here, with the exception of the Ronda Charlotte match, which was exceptional. No matter which way you cut it, it's set up so much potential.
Yeah.
That the only way that could be ruined is if they don't take up that potential and run with it. But yeah, that match was the match. Really the only match worth rewatching. The rest of the matches had moments at times and or stunk and or were completely useless and pointless endeavors.
And piss.
And the piss spot. But yeah, that was horrible. But yeah, so I can only give 1 point to the Ronda match because it was awesome. The rest get 0 points.
You're gonna give it a 1?
I give fucking a 1, man, out of 10. This fucking shit. I know there wasn't 10 matches, but I'm saying there was a lot of elements in here, and the only element that got a stanky point was Ronda and Charlotte. Everything else, just take those points away. It fucking stunk.
Yeah, the only reason I give it a 5 is because I really did like that match, and I was kind of impressed with what they're setting up. But other than that, it was a extremely pointless night in wrestling. This was the thing I was saying before. Survivor Series was just pointless, and they kind of proved me right. Now, there is a way to do it and be interesting, and only one match did it. So that's a stank. That's a stank, but that one match is really good.
Yep. So what did you think? I think it was a complete waste of time. But like you said, not boring, but that doesn't say anything. I mean, if we want boring, we just see a Raw episode and be like, fuck me.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't that. But Raw episodes usually get a 0 rating from me. So anyway, whatever.
Piss spot out of 10.
This was a fucking thing that happened. Whatever. Wasted some time of my life. Let us know what you think. Hit like, share, subscribe, and those notification buttons. Because we are, in fact, out of this freaking joint.